Look at this. Angel Reese threw her last 3 games, 11.7 points per game, 15 rebounds per game, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Look at these shooting splits. 28% from the field, 20% from 3, 67% from the free throw line, 28% when you're shooting within 5 feet. That is bad news.
8 points, 3 makes on 13 attempts, 2 missed threes, 50% at the line. Those are the numbers that immediately became ammunition after this game, and on the surface, they are brutal. But the reason this performance became such a lightning rod is that Reese did almost everything else at a high level. That contradiction is where this gets interesting. She can wreck possessions defensively, dominate the glass, generate extra opportunities, and still leave viewers wondering how somebody that physically productive can struggle this much finishing shots from close range. And keep one thing in mind as we go through this, because the loudest jokes about the misses may actually distract from the more important argument. Later, we have to get into why performances like this are creating an uncomfortable Team USA debate, because once national team selections enter the conversation, this stops being about one ugly box score.
Angel Reese went off tonight. Oh, wow, did she? 8 points, all right, solid. 3 of 13 from the field, 2 turnovers, 0 for 2 from the three-point line, and 50% from the charity stripe.
That sequence is why the stat line hits differently when you actually watch the possessions. Brittney Griner does not have to make some spectacular recovery. Reese gets into an area where a power forward normally wants to live, and the possession still turns into another miss. This is where criticism of Reese has to be separated into 2 categories. There is the internet version, where every miss becomes a meme, and then there is the basketball version, where you ask why her touch and balance have not caught up with her elite rebounding instincts. Those are not the same conversation. Reese has already proven that she understands where the ball is going better than most players. You do not consistently pile up rebounds by accident. There is anticipation involved. There is motor. There is positioning. There is willingness to absorb contact possession after possession, but offensive rebounding and finishing are different skills. Knowing where the miss will land does not automatically mean you have the footwork, touch, timing, or body control to turn every catch near the basket into an efficient attempt. And right now, that gap is being exposed every time she faces size.
Gets it back from Jordan Canada. Right there, the give and go from Jordan Canada, but Reese.
Brittney Griner didn't even need to jump for this right here. Brittney Griner didn't even need to.
Gets it back from Jordan Canada. Right there, the give and go from Jordan Canada, but Reese. There are only 2 players averaging double figures for Canada.
Watch what happens when the defense makes her finish through traffic. She gets the opportunity, but the attempt becomes awkward before the ball even reaches the rim. That matters because the criticism is not simply that shots are missing. Every player misses. The concern is the quality of some of the attempts. When your base is unstable, your shoulders are moving in one direction, your legs are drifting somewhere else, and you are releasing under pressure. Even a shot from 3 feet can become difficult. That is how somebody can dominate the offensive glass and still post a finishing percentage that looks completely disconnected from where those shots are coming from. And this is the part that gets lost whenever the conversation turns into either Angel Reese is terrible or any criticism of Angel Reese's hate. Both positions are too easy. She clearly possesses several elite WNBA-level skills. She also clearly has an offensive weakness that opponents are comfortable challenging. The film can show both things at the same time. Teams do not care about social media narratives. They care about scouting reports. If defenders believe they can stay vertical, crowd her space, force her to gather twice, or make her finish through length without sending unnecessary help, they will keep doing it until she punishes them. That is the actual adjustment Reese has to beat.
Canada with some iso ball to Angel Reese. Finds the left side, building on it here as Medina Okada is in the ball game. Angel Reese has time at the top of the key. Another quick look on the inside. Angel Reese off on the first one, gets fouled.
And there is another example. She attacks, gets challenged at the rim, and the possession becomes part of the same pattern. This is why calling it a layup slump is funny as a punchline, but revealing as a basketball problem. Most shooting slumps happen because jumpers stop falling. Reese's current problem is happening in the area where efficiency is supposed to be highest. That makes the solution more complicated than simply telling her to keep shooting. A three-point shooter in a slump might fix mechanics, shot preparation, or selection. Reese is dealing with decisions that happen before the release. How quickly does she go up? Does she bring the ball down? Can she finish with either hand? Can she use the rim as protection? Can she create an angle instead of trying to overpower a defender who is already waiting? Those tiny details are the difference between an awkward contested attempt and 2 automatic points. There is also a strategic question for Atlanta. If Reese is giving you elite rebounding and disruptive defense but inefficient scoring, how much offense should actually run through her? Because sometimes helping a player does not mean giving her more shots. It means designing possessions where her best skills create easier shots for everybody else. Use her as a screener. Make her a short roll passer. Put her in actions that force defenders to rotate before she catches the ball. Let her crash from the weak side, instead of beginning every possession wrestling for position with a center who already knows where the entry pass is coming. If the offense makes her catches cleaner, the finishing numbers have a better chance to improve without demanding that she suddenly become a completely different player.
Continuing that offensive prowess with that turner block. Angel Reese on the dive. Blocked. Got the defender, Reese, to stand up with Reese.
Gosh. Yeah, the Denny Grand Slam of the WNBA. You really can't make this up.
Now this is the counter-argument, and it deserves to be taken seriously. 15 rebounds, 4 blocks, 3 steals. Her team won by 35. If your only takeaway is that Reese had a worthless game because she shot 3 for 13, you are ignoring a massive portion of what happened. A player can shoot badly and still influence winning. Basketball has always worked that way. 15 rebounds can erase possessions for the opponent and manufacture extra ones for your own team. 4 blocks change what players are willing to attempt in the paint. 3 steals can create transition chances before the defense is organized. Those are real contributions, and they are exactly why Reese remains valuable even when the scoring looks ugly. But that defense does not erase the offensive problem either. In fact, the stronger argument is that Reese's ceiling becomes dramatically higher if she can turn even average finishing into a dependable weapon. She does not need to become a stretch forward hitting 40% from 3. She does not need a guard's handle. She does not need 15 different post moves. If she simply converts a reasonable percentage of the attempts she already creates around the basket, suddenly all those rebounds and defensive plays become attached to efficient scoring instead of being used to compensate for inefficient scoring. That is why the criticism matters. The weakness is obvious, but so is the opportunity.
Excuse me. I'm not a Reese fan, but let's be honest here. She also had 4 blocks, 3 steals, and 15 rebounds. She just needs to stop shooting so much, especially threes. Also, her team won by 35 points. Yeah, the Connecticut Sun are fucking trash. Me and 4 people around the block can beat the Connecticut Sun. I've never seen something so sloppy and unathletic.
And this is where the conversation starts moving away from one game and toward Reese's profile as one of the league's most visible players. The transcript makes a sarcastic claim about her drawing power and then immediately pivots to Team USA. Those are really 2 separate debates that often get smashed together because Reese is famous enough that almost anything involving her becomes an argument about popularity. Visibility does create pressure. When a player is constantly featured, every weakness receives more attention. A role player can go 3 for 13 and disappear from the news cycle. Reese cannot. Her misses become highlight compilations. Her physical plays get slowed down frame by frame. Her quotes become national discussion. But attention also comes with benefits. Sponsors know her. Fans know her. Opponents know that games involving her can generate interest beyond the standings. None of that automatically means basketball decisions are being made because of fame, and that distinction is important when we get to Team USA. Selection to a national team should be evaluated on fit, role, competition, and performance, not on whether somebody is popular enough to generate engagement. So if critics want to argue Reese should not be selected, the strongest argument is not, she is famous. It is, here are the players competing for the same role, here are their strengths, and here is why one profile fits better. That is a much harder argument to make, but it is also the one that actually matters.
Angel Reese wants you to know that people watch the WNBA for her too. She's made the Atlanta Dream the 14th biggest draw in the league out of 15 teams. Wow. Wow, this is insane. You can't get this many bloopies. Shout out to the Pope. Every single game from a player they put on the national team. They put this player on the Team USA national team, folks. Team USA national team.
Then you get the physical side of Reese's game, which creates another layer entirely. She plays through contact. She initiates contact. She hunts rebounds in crowded spaces, and sometimes those collisions look ugly. This clip is being framed as a headbutt, but intent is the key word. A slow-motion collision can look far more deliberate than it felt at full speed. That does not mean contact should be ignored. It means there is a difference between saying her head made contact with another player and claiming she intentionally tried to headbutt somebody without clear evidence of intent. Reese's style invites these moments because she is constantly operating where bodies are colliding. That physicality is one reason she rebounds so well. It is also one reason she gets criticized so heavily when a play goes beyond normal contact. The smarter question is whether her aggression is controlled. There are possessions where relentless physicality gives your team an edge. There are others where poor balance or over-aggression creates unnecessary fouls, turnovers, or dangerous collisions. Great physical players learn to live right on that boundary without crossing it often enough to hurt their team. That development matters just as much as improving a layup package, because the more important Reese becomes, the more opponents will try to use her aggression against her.
Watch Angel Reese headbutt Aaliyah Edwards.
The look. You got Reese who goes up the first time.
Headbutt, look at that.
Look. You got
Headbutt.
Reese who goes up the first time. She gets her own
Headbutt.
Rebound. And then gets fouled on that backside, and it's definitely a foul right there.
Headbutt.
Clean strip.
This sequence is a perfect example of why basketball clips need context. Reese reacts as though she took significant contact around the neck area. The replay is then used to question whether the reaction matched what actually happened. You can disagree with how she sold the contact without turning it into a character indictment. Players exaggerate contact across professional basketball because officials are human, possessions matter, and getting a call can change a game. Guards snap their heads backward, shooters kick legs out. Bigs yell through contact. None of that is unique to Reese. The reason it becomes combustible with her is that viewers already arrive with a position. People who dislike her see confirmation that she is dramatic. People who defend her see another example of her taking physical punishment while critics laugh. And once fans start watching a player only to confirm what they already believe, every possession becomes evidence for a conclusion they made before the game started. That is how sports discourse turns into tribal warfare. The interesting part is that Reese does not need anybody to invent material for criticism right now. The shooting numbers already provide a legitimate basketball discussion. Turning every collision into a moral referendum actually weakens that discussion because it gives defenders an easy reason to dismiss all criticism as personal. Judge the finishing, judge the shot selection, judge the decision-making, judge the defense. Those can be measured.
Like a hard foul. Yeah, the officials, no doubt, are going to take a look at this. Aaliyah Edwards is called.
She grabbed my neck! All right, you know what? Surely she grabbed your neck, right? You're an honorable person. You tell nothing but the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Rebound.
Let's see.
Gets fouled on that back.
Oh wow, man! You see her grabbing.
Backside.
Damn, her neck's getting grabbed.
It's definitely.
Wow, her neck's getting grabbed.
Right?
Wow, her neck is getting grabbed. Wow, she's about to get chokeslammed. Her neck's getting grabbed. So
now we get to the 3-game stretch, and this is where the criticism becomes much harder to wave away as one bad evening. According to the numbers shown here, Reese was averaging 11.7 points and 15 rebounds over those 3 games, with 2 steals and 2 blocks, but shooting 28% from the field, 20% from 3, and 67% at the line. The first thing that jumps out is not actually the scoring. It is how much production she is generating despite the shooting. 15 rebounds per game during an offensive slump tells you the motor has not disappeared. 2 steals and 2 blocks tell you she is still impacting possessions defensively. The second thing is the obvious problem. 28% from the field is unsustainable for a front court player who gets significant opportunities near the basket. And this is where shot selection enters the conversation. If the outside shot is not currently a dependable weapon, defenses are happy every time Reese settles for it. Missing a 3 is not automatically a bad possession, especially if the shot is open and the coaching staff wants her developing that part of her game. But development and game optimization are different goals. Sometimes a team is willing to accept short-term inefficiency because it believes a player needs live game repetitions to expand long-term upside. If that is what Atlanta is doing, then some ugly results may simply be part of the process. But if the goal is maximizing every possession right now, the math says Reese should be spending most of her offensive energy creating higher quality opportunities near the rim and at the free throw line until the jumper becomes more reliable. That does not mean abandoning the 3 forever. It means earning it.
Look at this. Angel Reese through her last 3 games, 11.7 points per game, 15 rebounds per game, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Look at these shooting splits. 28% from the field, 20% from 3, 67% from the free throw line, 28% when you're shooting within 5 feet. That is bad news bears, folks. That's bad. Wow. Folks, you got to go out of your way to shoot 28%. I think Ben Simmons can even shoot better than this.
And now we hit one of the most repeated accusations surrounding Reese, that some of her rebounds come from missing her own shots and collecting the ball again. The transcript takes that idea much further and claims she misses on purpose to inflate rebound statistics. There is no evidence presented here that establishes deliberate stat padding, and that distinction matters. Missing a shot, getting your own rebound, and trying again is not proof that the original miss was intentional. Think about what deliberately missing would actually require. Reese would have to risk losing possession, hurting her field goal percentage, allowing a defender to secure the rebound, and potentially costing her team points, all for the possibility of recording 1 extra rebound. Without evidence, intent cannot simply be inferred from an ugly finish. What is fair to discuss is how offensive rebounds interact with her statistics. If a player misses, rebounds her own shot, misses again, and then scores, the box score can show 2 offensive rebounds and 2 missed field goals on 1 extended possession. That creates an unusual statistical profile, huge rebounding totals alongside inefficient shooting. Some fans look at the rebounds and see dominance. Others look at the missed attempts and see inflated numbers. Both are responding to different parts of the same sequence. But the rebound still has value. Recovering your own miss keeps the possession alive. The problem is not that the rebound somehow does not count. The problem is that repeatedly needing 2 or 3 attempts to finish 1 possession lowers offensive efficiency. That is a far more precise criticism than saying the rebound itself is fake.
28% from the field is historically an outrageous shooting percentage. She misses and gets blocked on purpose to get rebound stats. It's unprecedented and disgusting selfish behavior. Damn, shout out to Mr. Gru. Oh, giving her the little tykes. I hear the WNBA are implementing the Reese hoop to improve the efficiency. Wow. Break out the little tykes. Break out. Damn, she's literally the Russell Westbrook of the day. That's disrespectful to Russell Westbrook.
And now we arrive at the part teased earlier. Team USA. This is where Reese's current offensive stretch matters beyond social media jokes, because national team selection invites comparison against an entirely different standard. You are no longer asking whether Reese belongs in the WNBA. She obviously does. You are asking whether her particular skill set deserves one of a very limited number of spots when the United States can choose from an enormous pool of elite players. That is a much tougher test. The case for Reese is straightforward. Elite rebounding travels. Defensive activity travels, physicality travels, international tournaments can become possession battles, and a player who generates second chances without needing plays called for her can be valuable on a roster filled with scorers. Team USA does not necessarily need 12 players who all want 20 shots. A complementary player can sometimes fit better than another high-usage star. But the concern is equally obvious. Against elite international size, inefficient finishing can become even more difficult to hide. If defenders do not respect Reese outside the paint, and she struggles converting through length inside it, spacing can shrink. Every weakness is magnified because international opponents are not giving away possessions simply because somebody has a famous name. So the Team USA question should not be, is Angel Reese a star? It should be, what exact role would she have, and is she one of the best American options for that role? If the role is rebounding, defensive energy, switching, and physical depth, she has a real argument. If the role requires efficient half-court scoring or floor spacing, this current version of her offense makes the argument much harder, and that is why the next stretch of her development matters. The national team conversation does not have to be permanent. Players improve, roles evolve. Reese can make this entire debate look outdated by becoming even a league-average finisher. The criticism is loud because the opportunity is enormous.
Damn. Sharing shots with one of the worst offensive players in the league. Yeah, this is bad news bears. Yo really put shooting splits. That's wild. They're sending this shit to the FIBA World Cup. That's a protected species. Ouch. Yeah, she's on the Team USA World Cup team. If this person makes the national team in 28 over some of the heavy hitters that we're gonna have in the league by then, it's literally just for her name. That's it. It's protected species. It's preferential treatment.
The video then widens the target from Reese to the quality of the basketball itself, joking about airballs and ugly possessions across the league. That criticism has followed the WNBA for years, but there is a danger in judging an entire league through compilations designed specifically to collect its worst moments. You could build an ugly montage from any professional league if you filtered hundreds of possessions for airballs, blown layups, turnovers, and defensive mistakes. The NBA produces shotgun-style clips every season because even the best players in the world occasionally look ridiculous. The fair criticism is not that ugly possessions exist. It is whether the overall product is consistently delivering the level of execution fans expect from professional basketball. And that answer can change from game to game. There are WNBA games with elite shot-making, sophisticated actions, brutal defensive rotations, and incredible late-game execution. There are also nights where spacing collapses, open shots miss badly, and the game becomes difficult to watch. Pretending either side does not exist turns analysis into propaganda. Fans are allowed to expect better basketball. Players are also allowed to have bad nights, without those nights being treated as proof the entire league has no talent. Both standards can coexist.
But folks, she's not the only one that looked absolutely abysmal last night. Brick Center gave us this awesome highlight tape. The amount of air balls in a WNBA game is insane. Now, the Fever don't usually have this many air balls, but let's take a look at this garbage that we're about to watch. Oh, man.
So after all the jokes, the clips, the ugly percentages, and the Team USA argument, what is the real takeaway? Angel Reese is not difficult to evaluate because nobody knows whether she can play. She is difficult to evaluate because her strengths and weaknesses are unusually extreme. The rebounding is undeniable. The defensive activity is undeniable. Her motor creates possessions that other players simply do not create. Those traits give her a floor as a useful professional player, even when her offense collapses. But the finishing problem is also undeniable. And that is the real story, hiding underneath the memes. Reese is already generating many of the opportunities that coaches spend years trying to manufacture. She gets to the ball, she finds contact, she creates second chances, she draws attention. She has the physical tools to live around the paint. What she has not consistently done is convert those advantages into efficient points. That is why her offensive development could change the way people talk about her almost overnight. Imagine the same 15-rebound player, the same defensive activity, the same relentless motor, except instead of converting around 30% during a bad stretch, she becomes dependable enough around the basket that opponents cannot simply wait for the miss. Now the scouting report changes. Defenders have to commit earlier. Help has to come sooner. Teammates get cleaner kickout opportunities. Offensive rebounds become more dangerous because the defense knows the second attempt may actually be automatic. Suddenly, the same player critics call inefficient becomes somebody opposing coaches have to scheme around. That transformation does not require a miracle. It requires footwork, balance, patience, touch, and better decisions. The biggest question is whether Reese and Atlanta treat those weaknesses as areas to aggressively correct, or whether her elite rebounding numbers make it too easy to accept the offense as it is, because stars get into trouble when their strengths become an excuse not to address their weaknesses. Reese has enough talent that nobody should be satisfied with saying, well, she rebounded 15 times, so the shooting does not matter. It matters precisely because the rest of her game creates such a high ceiling, and the same standard should apply in the opposite direction. Nobody should look at 3 for 13 and pretend 15 rebounds, 4 blocks, and 3 steals suddenly disappear.
Marched them in the first place, so good job, Otto.
It's just so damn bad. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like the video, hype the video, subscribe to the channel. That means so much to me. What a disgusting night of a WNBA hoops last night. See you next time, and as always,